waiting for the lights to go out, which they do. Away they go, and it's a pretty even start between the two from the front of the grid. Leon Morel trying to get up into third place. He just about does so, squeezing up on the inside of Mike Chen there. But it's Joe Stables that has the lead in the black number 95 car. Scott Mittel in second and Leon Morel third as they make their way through Craner Curves, Josh, and down towards the old hairpin for the first time.
Morel got very close to the back of Scott Mittel's car through the middle of Redgate. They just about avoided contact. They can see Stephen Bell's already passed the 4 smaller engine cars, the Spire and the 3 Global GT Lights. Here are the leaders up to McLean's, and Stables is getting away from Mittel. So just like in the earlier race on cold tyres, the PR6 of Joe Stables seems to be quicker. But as the race goes on, that may change. The fields flow their way through Coppice really quick. These cars, the quickest cars we have out today. There'll be sub 90-second laps from the leaders once we get going, with the tyres coming up to temp. And down towards the S's, some battling going on in the mid-pack. Mark Boot there down the inside of Mark Grazen. It's, the SR1 Radical getting involved there as well. Andrew Lowe driving that, the entry-level car. Down into the Melbourne hairpin. All these close to a touch there. I think Alistair Smart was involved in some side-by-side action, but plenty of battling through the pack here.
Yeah, really good starts this RLM Racing Bikesports race. That's Andrew Kimpton up on the inside of Ross Drew, number 17. And I think he's just about made that work, and he will come through in 6th position at the end of lap number 1. Drew under pressure as well, this time from Alistair Smart. Smart is going to take the place away as well. Side by side between the next two as well. So that's Matt Moore and Julian Griffiths. So good action down the order, but Joe Stables leading by 1.1 seconds from Scott Mittel at the end of the first lap at a spin for one of the Global GT Lights. That's the 79 car of Anthony Thompson.
He gets back on though, so all 24 cars will make it to the end of the first lap. Is Mittel getting closer to Stables here? The gap was 1.1 seconds, but I think Scott is pushing on now to get closer to the leader. 2 different types of cars here, and Stables really wide out of Coppice corner, and that 1.1 seconds has pretty much gone now, and Stables feeling the need to defend down towards the S's. So Scott Mittel getting that car working quicker in this race. That's a setup change for this one. Learned a bit in the earlier race. That car only had 1 test day before this. Is there damage to the rear of Stables' diffuser? Have a look at that, Ian. I think it might be moving about a bit.
But hard to tell, isn't it? Hard to look. Oh no, it looks a bit on the sort of wavy side, doesn't it? If that's not too technical a term. Up towards.
Sorry. Wide, weren't they, out of Melbourne? On the grass, I think Mittel was. So he lost time once again to Stables. They're both pushing so hard.
Over the line, those two go. 1.4 seconds the gap between them this time, so it's gone out by about 0.3 of a second. Richard Wise in the 88 car in 5th place. You can just see going through. Andrew Kimpton 6th, Alistair Smart 7th, Julian Griffiths 8th. And then Ross Drew 9th, so he's lost a couple of places that lap. Matt Moore it is that rounds out the top 10. Stables it is that leads the way still. Good old fight between those first two for victory. Just having a look back, you can see that Stephen Bell's made it up to 19th position now from the back of the grid, so he's made up a few spots as well. That's good for him.
Stables is getting away from Mittel again, isn't he, after that error on the exit of the Melbourne. It's a much bigger gap, isn't it? It was 1.4 seconds, but it's larger now. Here are the Class B leaders for the standard engine cars. Leo Morel has got the champion in that class from last year, Mike Chen, right on his tail. The gap was 2/3 of a second at the start of the lap. Then they've got the Mittel MC41 of Richard Wise behind them. It's a Class A car. They dive down into the S's here, and a bit of a moment for Chen. That's where Morel went off earlier, and that means he loses the place to Richard Wise, who moved into 4th. So that was a sideways moment through the middle of the S's.
Yeah, absolutely right. A reminder that Class A is for the tuned larger engines, Class B for the production, the larger capacity engines, Class C up to 1000 cc. Now the two leaders up and over the line again, the gap pretty much the same as it was, but Mittel doing the best lap of the race so far, a 1:30.727. We saw them down into the 1:28s in the earlier race. Here's the fight for 3rd and 4th as it now is, with that mistake from Mike Chen a few corners ago. Richard Wise in his Class A car, looking at the inside of the Class B car of Leon Morel there, but to no avail as they turn their way down the right-hander at Hollywood into the Craner curves. Late evening, early evening, late afternoon sun glinting off the cars as they head down through the Craner curves. Fantastic sight they make. Good little battle going on a bit further back there as well, towards the rear of the field, just going through shot. Here's the fight for third though. It's up at McLean's now. Mike Chen trying to get back on terms with them again after that indiscretion at the Fogarty S's. Through Coppice they go now onto the exhibition straight.
It'll be interesting if Richard Wise can get through what pace he's got in clear air. I don't think we've seen that today, and I think he might do it here. No, Leon Morel's not learned that he doesn't need to battle the Class A cars, has he? He was fighting hard there, and I think the leaders were in getting towards the global GT light traffic, so that'll be interesting to watch in a moment. But Richard Wise does go through this time, doesn't he, up the inside, and because Morel keeps battling him, Mike Chen gets closer once more. So Leon Morel likes to have an overall position, doesn't he, as well as the class place?
Certainly does. He's obviously just enjoying his racing. Still a relatively newcomer to circuit racing is Leon Morel. And yeah, whether it's a class position, an overall position, I don't think he cares too much which it is. Here's the 44 car of Andrew Kimpton, just ahead of 73, Alistair Smart. Gillian Griffiths just behind them as well in 8th position, as they drop down now through the Craner curves towards the old hairpin once again. Gouching the top two came down on that lap to 0.7 of a second, because Scott Mattel did the best lap of the race so far, by the way, 1:29.801. So we could have another decent battle up front, Josh. In fact, here it is, because Scott Mattel in the white car is pretty close to the back of the black car, and he's going to try and get down the inside of Joe Stables into Fogarty S's, but he's not going to be able to make it work. Oh, and now the diffuser, which we thought looked a bit wavy, well, it's waved all the way off the car and landed in the gravel trap. Unfortunately, that just missed Scott Mattel.
And you'd think this is going to harm Stables' pace, wouldn't you? And Mattel goes straight down the inside, and he grabs the lead of the motor race, and without the rear diffuser, you would imagine Joe Stables' car will lose a decent chunk of pace, but he's fighting back up the outside. He brakes super late as Stables to try and get round the outside. Then he darts back to the inside line. I think he's not holding him up yet, is it? He's getting back alongside Scott Mattel. They're absolutely side by side as they cross the line. There is 0.000 between the two of them as they completed the lap. And Joe Stables round the outside into Redgate gets the lead back. This is the type of racing we hope to see between them, Ian, this weekend, and that was absolutely brilliant stuff.
Yeah, but the question is, what is going to happen to the pace, the handling of Joe Stables' car for the remaining 8 laps probably of this race, something like that. It's going to be a tall order for him here, I think. But a frightening moment, you'd think, for Scott Mattel as well, seeing that sort of fly off the back of Joe's car and ultimately into the gravel trap and out of harm's way. But yeah, it could have been unfortunate.
Initial views is the PR6 isn't really harmed, is it? Because Scott Mattel's not all over him like you would perhaps expect.
No, he's
we'll
not.
See what the lap time is. We'll see what the lap time is, because I think the last laps are slow because they went through the global GT light cars. But through the chicane, Stables is struggling a bit, isn't he, to get the car turned in. So is that going to give Mattel another chance down into the hairpin? They're very close.
Very close, but not close enough, I don't think, for a change there between the two of them. We'll watch them now climb back up the hill towards Goddard's. And Stables about 4 or 5 lengths ahead of Scott Mattel at this part of the circuit. And they disappear again down the start and finish straight.
Well, it was the fastest lap for Joe Stables, so it doesn't seem to affect the car too much. 1:29.7.
Only 0.004 better than Scott Mattel's best lap of the race, though. So very little to choose between them. There's Richard Wise, now third.
And in the 1:32s, so he's quicker than the Class B cars, but not on the pace of the two leaders.
Yeah,
Leon Morel leads Class B by 2.2 seconds.
Yeah, he's pulling away from Leon Morel, although Morel just did his best lap of the race at 1:33.617. Michael Chen in 5th, second in Class B. Andrew Kimpton in 6th at the moment. So good battle up front, good battles down the order as well. This is Chen in 5th place. He's got Kimpton and Smart just behind him and Griffith. So there's 4 cars separated at the beginning of this lap, only 1.8 seconds. In fact, only 0.7 seconds between the first 3 that you can see at the start of the lap. So pretty close between the trio here as they head through Coppice Corner. Looks like there's a wheel mark on Alistair Smart's car, and that's from this race or the earlier one, I'm not quite sure. You can see that just in front of his wheel by the number. Now look at this, Kimpton is trying every which way to get ahead of Michael Chen there. And Chen, of course, in a different class, but nevertheless Kimpton was racing hard. He's lost a bit of pace there, I think, as they go down towards the Melbourne hairpin. I thought Alistair Smart might be ready and poised to dive down the inside. And look at this, because Ross Drew, number 17, seems to have reeled them in as well. He was a second behind this group at the beginning of the lap, but he's caught them now. He's running in 9th position at the moment, but it's really going to be a 5-car battle for 5th position before much longer.
Stables has gone even faster now, 1 minute 29.4, and has got over a second to Mattel. So questions what on earth the diffuser was doing, because the car doesn't seem to be going any slower without it. So really interesting that is to see. Here's our Class B leader, is it, Leon Morel? And then that group of cars that you were describing a moment ago being led by Mike Chen from the 3 PR6s with Jules Griffiths up there now, and then the SR3 rounding that group out, which is the Drew car that won Class B earlier, Ross Drew.
Up at McLean's on lap number 8 of the race. They making their way through. Oh, and a spin, that's for Richard Hardy, number 33, and he's come to rest on over the curb. I'm just wondering if that's in a position where he's going to be able to get that car moved. Looks like it might be sort of beached onto the grass there, the way the grass rises up from the curbs at Goddard Hairpin. That could be a problem.
Kimpton's got Chen, hasn't he? So Andrew Kimpton's moved into 5th.
Now they're heading up towards the part of the circuit, Josh, where Richard Hardy's car was. The question is it still there? Yes is the answer. It doesn't look as if Richard Hardy can do too much about it. What have we got left? We've got 7 and a bit minutes left of this race. Joe Stables leading by 9/10 from Scott Mattel, Richard Wise 3rd, Leon Morel 4th, Andrew Kimpton 5th, Mike Chen 6th now.
Ross Drew was slowing there, Ian, and we've got the safety car boards as well, by the way. But Ross Drew was slowing, in 9th position across the line. And did they, just before they got to the safety car boards, Griffiths has got past. Oh, there's Drew, so he's out. Griffiths got past Smart as well, I think, there, before the crane of curves.
Yeah, so that's the reason for the safety car being called. You can see the yellow flags being waved by the marshals there. So, it shouldn't take too much marshal power, I wouldn't have thought, to get that car moved, but it is just going to take a few moments to get the cars in a queue, traffic neutralised. I'm not sure how much of a difference this is going to make to the race, really, because you've got 2 cars out in front, Stables and Mattel, and probably once they get going again, assuming we do get a restart, they'll stay out in front.
But there's a big problem for Mattel. There's a lapped car between them and a GT Light, so I think that might scupper Mattel's chances.
Yeah, I guess I was more thinking from the point of view of we're not going to see anyone else really having an impact on this race, I don't think, although that the lap traffic may, as you say, play a part in that. Yeah, and the rest of the pack were fairly close together anyway, weren't they?
Yeah, I think it has stopped Mattel being able to challenge Stables, won't it? Unless, of course, that lap traffic car decides to... we've got no need for it to move out the way, but...
no.
It will lose Scott Mattel 2 or 3 seconds, I would have thought, at the restart. Assuming we get a restart, we've only got 5.5 minutes. But like you say, it shouldn't take too long. But
yeah.
If it's 2 laps of safety car, that'd be too many. It has to be just the one.
It's just the 1 lap of safety car, effectively, doesn't it? 1 full lap of safety car.
There isn't a safety. Has the safety car gone out? Because Stables can't quite see. But Stables hasn't got the safety car in front of him anyway.
No, I don't know if that's still waiting at the pit lane exit for them or not. Oh, there it is. and it's sort of not. It's picked up Matthew Manette, hasn't it? The number 21 car, who's in 19th position. So it's not picked up the leader. It's picked up effectively the car that's in third place, because the next car behind Matthew Manette is Richard Wise.
The Masters had this same issue at the end of Saturday's action in the Formula 2 race. And because of that issue, they weren't able to get back racing in time. And I fear the same thing could happen here.
Yeah, as you say, 4.5 minutes.
Not unless we just go racing as it is, and the leaders will have loads of traffic to deal with.
Potential for that. What we've not seen is whether the Richard Hardy car's been moved yet. There should now be a gap, a reasonable gap, to allow the marshals to get trackside to do that. Hopefully we'll be able to go. There you can see the top 20 on your screens at the moment as the bottom half of that list scrolls through to show you the lower reaches of the order. There's Stephen Bell going for. He's got 15th in this race, so not quite as high as he managed in the earlier race when he got up to 11th.
Stables is passing us with 3 minutes 50 to go. Stables and Mattel.
Yeah, and of course they've not got a safety car ahead of them. There's the safety car in the background, so Joe Stables is effectively acting as the safety car.
You can see the car there that is between them. That if we did get a restart would be Mattel's problem.
Yeah,
but I fear we may not get a restart now, to be honest with you.
No, it's looking less and less likely, isn't it, unfortunately, that we'll see a restart to this RLM Racing Bikesports Championship race. Look to see the into the distance. Safety car board is being brought in by the marshal on the finish line.
For the leaders, this could get very confusing, couldn't it? Although the Hardy
yeah,
still
well, the Hardy, yeah, that's not been moved yet. So I think they might be changing it for a different thing to stick out. Possibly. Even a couple of marshals isn't shifting that, which is a worry. It's just the way it's beached, isn't it? With I suspect its wheels aren't even in contact with the grass or the road. It's just sort of wedged itself against the grass.
Checkered flag's been shown to the safety car now.
Yeah, okay. So race is being brought to an early close then, with only 2 minutes to go. I'm afraid that was inevitable. So it's going to be the win, whether they go back a lap or not, because it didn't go out to Joe Stables. Anyway, Joe Stables it will be that will get the win from Scott Mittal. I don't think there's too much controversy about that. Richard Wise it will be that will be third.
Thanks guys, yep, down here with our race winner from the final Bikesports race of the day here at Donington Park, and it's Joe Stables who takes 2 out of 2 from that race, just getting himself sorted down here with a mask and his headband, and then we'll be ready to go for a quick chat with him. There you go, Joe, take a garland. Well done, many congratulations for double here at Donington. It seemed a pretty easy race from your behalf. I know Scott was right there on your tail, but you lost your diffuser halfway round.
It was actually hanging like a bag of spanners before I lost that. It was horrible, and I lost it, and it was back to normal again by the seams of it. So, yeah, it was a difficult one. It was difficult. It made it interesting though. So.
Yeah, I think up until that point you were under pressure from Scott. He was trying to dive down and get the moves done, but as you said, things improved once that diffuser kind of got lost.
Yeah, I mean, he had a go at me, and I managed to just get the inside again, and then held him to the inside during the straight, and yeah, went around happy days.
2 close races today here at Donington. That could be a theme of what's to come for the rest of the year.
I hope so. Yeah, hope so.
You're looking forward to it. Your dad's, of course, teaching you the ropes. You've got them by now, by the looks of it.
Oh, he still gives me pointers every now and then. He does give me useful information. He's still good.
Would you like to jump back in the car, do you reckon?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's loads of fun.
Good stuff. You're looking forward to the next one? I think we're Croft next, aren't we?
I've never been to Croft for like 6-7 years, and I've never tested there, so it should be very interested.
We're looking forward to it. Joe, well done. Good start to the season.
Thank you.
There we go. Joe Stables, our race winner for the second time today here at Donington. We look forward to the Bikesports who head to Croft next. But here, though, at Donington Park, we've got one race to come, and that's going to be a very close race, I'm sure, in the low-cost championship.